Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today at this iStaging talk. My name is Stefan, and I'm here today with my colleague Andrea, who you can speak with via the chat on the right-hand side of your screen. You can ask her any questions during today's talk, and she'll be able to answer them. But don't worry if you don't get an immediate answer. We'll have some time for a live Q&A at the end of the talk today. Please let her know if you can hear me okay and if you can see me okay. If we are good to go, then we'll get started. Today's webinar is on how to build a virtual museum. Now, I think that most of you know that we, as iStaging, enable you to create, build, edit, and host virtual experiences in a variety of industries. And the museum and gallery industry is, especially because of the pandemic, probably hit one of the hardest in the last almost over a year now, because they're obviously they can't have any sort of revenue from tickets, and they're all closed, and probably they're also going to be one of the last that can sort of reopen again. So it might take a while, and a lot of these galleries and museums are probably thinking about doing stuff virtually and seeing what they can do in a virtual world completely. And there's a lot of possibilities here. But what we've seen some samples of museums or galleries creating a virtual tour where they've taken some images, 360 images, and created a simple walkthrough. But there's actually so much more that you can do and so much more to it, especially if you can only do this stuff virtually. And that's what we want to talk to you about today. And I'm simply going to show you a sample and give you some inspiration and some idea of what it is that you could potentially do. And hopefully that gives you the motivation maybe to go out there if you are in the museum or gallery or in the art industry, and if you maybe have clients in that industry to help them go digital. So I'm going to simply share my screen right now and walk you through a sample. So just give me a minute and I'll get this going for you guys. Just a sec. All right, we should. Okay. I think you should all see my screen right now. All right, very good. Okay, so the first thing that you guys will see here is obviously that the space that has been created is actually a 3D render. So it's a 3D rendered design created by our design team. But obviously there is another way of creating the content, and I just referenced that already, which is capturing a physical museum, with either a 360 camera, any 360 camera will work, or our VR Maker smartphone app to capture using your smartphone to actually create that virtual experience. But this should give you an idea, all of the features and everything that's been added. Obviously, you can also do, if you capture the physical museum, it's simply to give you an idea of what the possibilities are. The first thing that you'll see here right in the middle is a video, an introduction video, and I'll play it for you in a second. But we actually recommend doing this if you have the possibility of that for any type of experience, virtual experience that you're trying to create, because it gives you the opportunity or the possibility to basically welcome visitors online, tell them a little bit about what it is that you're showcasing, and obviously also give them tips on how to navigate, because there's still many people out there for who this is kind of unfamiliar. They're not entirely sure what is going on. What can I click on? How should I navigate? Where should I go? So this is a great way of doing that. So it's a perfect sort of way of introducing your virtual experience. So let me just show you this quick 1-minute video to give you an idea of what is actually what you could do with it.
Hi there. Welcome to our virtual museum. We are so excited that you're visiting us today. Our museum is entirely dedicated to the life and work of Vincent van Gogh. Before you start with your virtual walkthrough, please allow us to introduce a couple of guidelines. By clicking on the top button in the menu on your right, you can explore the museum with the help of our automated tour guide. If you prefer discovering the museum at your own pace, you can click on the info and flag icons for more detailed information about the exhibit. You can follow the arrows on the floor to guide your way through. Thanks again for being here, and we hope you had a wonderful experience.
All right, so that gives you an idea of what you can do virtually as sort of an intro video, and it gives you some tips. Now, on the left side of the video, you see Visit Our Store, which is an online web store that you can create, and we'll show you towards the end of the talk how you can visualize that and what the possibilities are. So let's start by clicking on Start Exploring, and let me walk you through this virtual museum. So as we mentioned, this is entirely dedicated to the life and work of Vincent van Gogh. Now, everything that you see in this particular museum, so the text, the actual artworks, you know, the colored boxes here on the right, the info icons, the titles, everything you see has been added with our platform. So that already gives you a wonderful idea of what you can do, how versatile the platform is in terms of tagging and what you can add. Now, what's really important is when you're actually capturing a physical museum, well, like I said, we've seen where they give you a couple of panoramas maybe and a walk through in the middle of the walkway or the path, but it doesn't actually allow me to properly look at the pieces of art, and that's not how you normally would walk through a physical museum. You would stand in front of the artworks and read what information regarding the paintings or the artworks, or listen to an audio tour. So that's what you'll see here, that wherever the standpoint is, you can clearly see and enjoy the art, which is really important for the virtual experience. And as I mentioned, you can either have the info buttons, and we've here used a multi-tag. So this is a wonderful way of actually using a multi-tag because it enables you to use multiple languages inside the tag, which is obviously in a physical museum even a little bit more complicated. You would only be able to do that using the audio tour. Here you can also have the descriptions and have 20 languages basically, which is obviously great. Okay, let me go a little bit to here. And you'll see that beside the artwork here, because of the fact that the life of Vincent van Gogh is so interesting to read about, there are what's been added is 5 pivotal moments in his life with a different type of tag. In this case, the standard tag with information regarding these pivotal moments in his life. Now, you can obviously do this about art, but you can also, for example, do this regarding or about a building, like the actual building that the museum is in. There are so many that are in historic buildings or have such a wonderful story behind it that you can actually add to your virtual experience. So something to keep in mind of what you can do. All right, let's click. Obviously, using the hotspots, we'll move to the next section. And here, what I mentioned earlier on is the audio tags, right? Which is really popular in physical museums, but in this case also, it always adds so much more value. And here we've done actually 4 languages. So I'll click on one so you have an idea of what this actually does.
Sunflowers. Van Gogh painted this in January 1889 in Arles, a city in the south of France. Vincent used only 3 shades of yellow to create this painting.
So I'll stop it here. We will share this specific virtual museum with you guys later after the webinar. Later on, it will probably also be available on our website, so you can actually explore yourself. And there's actually really interesting information in here, so it'll be fun to actually explore it and learn more about it. So yes, this is for the audio tours that you can have for every single piece of art, or maybe some of them. And there's another one, and actually, actually I want to mention something regarding an automated tour, an automated guided tour that you can create, which is really cool for for museums and galleries. Obviously, what we've done so far is for visitors to explore themselves, and that's also what that intro video mentioned. But as a museum or a gallery, you can also create an automated guided tour, or basically a pre-recorded tour that people can simply sit back and watch and listen to an automated tour. And you can do multiple languages, but we've done here, I'll click on the one in English. And for each basically standpoint, each panorama, each section, you can pre-record interesting information and guide people through. So to give you an idea of how that works, I'll click here on this play button, and you'll see that automatically the
flowers and blossom. Van Gogh painted a number of impressive flower still lifes. Sunflowers. Van Gogh's paintings of sunflowers are among his most...
So I'll stop the recording here. But as you can see, when you pre-record this, the screen obviously goes wherever you've moved it, where you can guide the visitor towards, and you have the voiceover that you can hear. And every single tag that's been clicked on, so whether it's an information tag or just an image, will automatically also pop up on your screen. So the visitor can simply just sit back and watch maybe a smaller tour, or maybe a longer, a shorter or longer automated tour. A really, really wonderful and valuable tool. Okay. All right. So here, we've divided up. In this case, we've divided it up into multiple sections. Here, you see a section about his early drawings, and you can get really creative, right? Everything here has been added with the platform. So also the titles, for example. Some of the tags are clickable, but the titles, and the artwork is not, even though it's been added with a feature that we call a sticker on our platform. One of our advanced features that enables you to add, images or text or branding in some cases, right? If you want some sort of branding somewhere, that's really, really useful. All right, then the last section, or almost the last one. Here we have letters and quotes for Van Gogh that he was an avid writer to his brother and his painter friends, and wrote so many letters that are interesting with famous quotes that we've added here. So you can see really creative way of actually displaying these quotes, and then ultimately when you click on them, a pop-up window will show up, and you can then lead them to the actual letters. So you can see that there's so much cool stuff that you can do that's so engaging that really easily people would spend depending on the size of the museum, they can easily spend half an hour to an hour reading through every single thing and feeling really engaged of what they're actually seeing. All right, now I want to talk a little bit more about one of the challenging things for museums and galleries, which at the moment is simply staying alive and generating, revenue or money to keep going, which is really a crucial thing. Now, what's very common is asking for donations. You see that on many websites nowadays, where they say, "Hey, please help us out." Whether it's $1 or 50, doesn't matter. Every little bit helps. Now, that's one way to actually create some revenue. And generate some income. The other way is, and obviously by building this virtual museum and putting so much effort into it, then putting that on the website, and then ultimately at the end saying, "Hey, it would be great if you can have it. If you would donate something, sincerely, it would truly help us." That obviously makes people feel much more. They would probably feel they're much more likely that they will donate some money, when you offer such an immersive and wonderful experience online. You can also say, "Hey, I want to charge for this, so I'm going to charge you for a virtual ticket." Like you do for a physical museum, you would charge for a virtual ticket, and instead of whatever $10, you could say, "Hey, I'm charging $2 for it." And the only important thing here is that when you do that, you will have to give people a sneak peek of what it is that they're getting. So you want to see the first 3 panoramas, for example, that people can join for free or visualize for free. And if they then say, hey, do you want to see the entire museum? Buy your virtual ticket here. Wonderful way of doing it. And now what you're looking at here is an online web store. And the online web store, a lot of museums actually have physical web stores. Some of them have also transferred that online. But a virtual web store here, we actually visualize with all the items and the products that they can purchase. So I can click on one, and it gives me information regarding that product. Now we also have. By the way, I'm probably talking really quickly. I'm noticing that about myself right now. But anyway, we'll record this webinar as well, so don't you worry. We'll make it available so you can post back. Something really valuable as well is the web tag, meaning that you can actually embed a web page, as you can see here, within the store. And in this case, you can immediately add that product or item to your shopping cart and then immediately purchase it instead of sending them away from your store. So really, again, really versatile. And ultimately, once they're here and they're at the end of their virtual tour or virtual experience, like I said, you can ask for a donation or at least indicate how people can help out. Right? Okay. One last thing that I want to mention, and that's, let's say, I would say the fourth way of generating money. What's really common in physical museums is the group tours, the physical group tours, and you can actually do that online as well. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen here, and just give me a second. I'll go back here. All right. And just load a quick video that I want to show you guys, because this is another fantastic way of, online engaging visitors. Here we go. Okay, here you go. So this is for those of you who have been with iStaging for a while or have actually joined us for other webinars. You've probably seen this before. It's our virtual guided tour system, and it's called Touring, and it enables you to actually do virtually guided tours live. So instead of the pre-recorded tool that I talked about earlier in this talk, here now we're talking about a live tour. So you would see the guide on the right-hand side, and on the left-hand side you would see all the visitors. And in this case, you can have up to 10 visitors at the same time. The screens are synced, so again, the visitors can just sit back, listen to the guide, introduce the entire museum and all the art, and basically do a live tour. And this is now that museums and galleries are just having difficulty because they can't even open. They can do this, but even after the pandemic, it's over, and we can sort of go back to normal, and everything can, we can move around freely again. This is still something really valuable. Another way of actually asking people, say, hey, do you want to do a group tour? If you're not close by, if you live far away, you can't physically come to the museum, you live in a different country. There's so many museums that have such wonderful things to show, but because they're just, not everyone can physically go there for whatever reason it is, this is a wonderful way of actually showcasing the art. And again, you can charge a small fee for these live guided tours. Yeah, I hope that makes sense, guys. So I'm just gonna end this here. I see that I've been talking for about 20 minutes, so I think I'm gonna end it here and see if there are any questions from your side. So if you have any questions, then please let us know. And I'll give Andrea a couple minutes to set that up. Jose, thank you so much for joining us. One question, the 3D environment must be created, or your application already brings the 3D to do the tour? So the 3D environment, there are two ways of creating the environment. It can either be a physical space that you capture, right? So using a 360 camera, so you can capture that and then upload those panoramas to the software, or you can upload 3D rendered panoramas. So that's what I showed you today in the sample. And either we have to create that for you, or a designer has to create it for you, or you can do it if you are skilled in, for example, 3D software, so 3ds Max or something like that. If you can then create panoramic images with a ratio of 2:1, so for example 8,000 to 4,000 pixels, you can upload them and then build your virtual world, your virtual experience. So I hope that that sort of makes sense. All right. We have also several templates depending on what type of industry you're in. So, for example, if you're doing virtual exhibitions, we have templates for booths that you can choose from, or we have the possibility to create these renders for you with a team. So, all right. I hope that answers your question. Can the live tour members interact with each other? Richard, yes. So I'm assuming you're talking about the last section that I showed you in the video. They can, yeah. So there's audio and there's video, and you can turn that on, and everyone is able to speak to each other. Yes, that is a possibility. Obviously, when you're talking about an actual tour, then I'd recommend maybe turning off the audio for all of the, asking everyone to turn off the audio. And only turning it on when they actually have a question. But yes, they are able to interact. Is this museum platform different from the exhibition platform? No, so this would be basically the same, the same idea, same functions are available, which we'll also need for the museums. Yeah. Thanks for being here, Carl. Appreciate it. Andrei, so I can build my own object for the virtual tour. Yes, you can. So when you talk about the object, I'm assuming we're talking about the panoramas. Yes, you can build your own panoramas. As long as you upload them in the right ratio, then you're good to go. Absolutely, yes. So with OG source file or SketchUp, either one, I think, would work. We would recommend that you upload JPEGs or PNG panoramic files. But whatever render software, whatever software you want to create these panoramas in, that doesn't really matter, as long as you can export a panoramic image. So I hope that helps. All right, that's great. All right, thanks, Richard. Appreciate the question. So a lot of the features, actually almost all of the features that I showed you today are really, really advanced. So these are not standard features in our standard plans on our website. So if you're interested in building something like this, then reach out to us and we'll contact you and we can set this up for you. But these are, very advanced features to be able to build something so incredibly cool and so immersive and interactive. Mohammed, thank you for being here. Can you build a 3D space with Google SketchUp, for example? All right, now I'm not exactly a designer. I'm not a designer myself, so I don't really have experience in building these renders and panoramas. We have a team that does that, but I'm assuming you can. You should be able to do so, yes. Keen, what is the preferred browser to use? Well, any browser should work, but I think generally what we would say is Google Chrome. That's usually the most stable, works all very well. But even even Safari and other browsers work okay. But Chrome is yes, I would say Chrome. Is there educational access to the platform? Educational access, I'm assuming you're talking about maybe a trial or something like that. Ian, thank you. Well, we do have trials, but they're paid trials. So there is a paid trial that we can help you with, which I can tell you here is $199 US for a 1-month trial where you will have access to all of the features, every single feature we got, the entire platform. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And you'll be able to try that out. And then afterwards, you can decide to either continue monthly or upgrade to an annual plan. All right, that all sounds very good. Well, I'm happy about that. That's awesome. The big question, how can we use this tool only with white label, and what will it cost per tour or per year? Okay, great question. So like I just said, well, what I can tell you is that it's a software, right? So we work with a subscription-based model. It's either monthly or annually. And there are a couple of variables that we have to keep in mind. When you say white label, that's always a little bit tricky, because white label means different things to different people. Now, what we generally say is that actually white labeling is not really necessary in this case, because in the tour itself there will not be any iStaging. It will basically branding that you can do yourself. And ultimately, in the URL, there is iStaging in the URL, but you can embed it. So you can embed the entire tour in a website or under a different URL, basically hiding it. And then, there's no iStaging or no, branding of our company anywhere, which can be considered similar to white label. Yes. So what I'll do, Andre, is it would be actually interesting to hear a little bit more about what it is that you're looking for. So we'll get in touch with you after the webinar, and if you can tell me a little bit about your needs, we can figure out the right package for you, the right plan for you. If you would be interested to start with the trial that I earlier talked about, or get going immediately. Do you have integrations with other virtual tour builder software? No, not really, but obviously if you have panoramas that you somehow created in other virtual tour software and you want to switch them over to us, as long as they're in the right ratio, you can upload them. But you will have to rebuild the tour. That's the thing, probably. So we don't have specific integrations. If you can be a little bit more specific, if you have a specific company in mind, maybe I can answer that more clearly. Richard, is there any learning option where visitors can answer or respond to questions put to them in, for example, a pop-up text note? Okay, very good question. So basically, I'm assuming what you're saying is a chat, a live chat function. So what we do here is, at the moment, our software doesn't actually include a chat, but using the web tag, I don't know if you remember what I just showed you, that you actually can embed a website, you can also embed a chat. Most companies actually have an online chat feature or chat function. Now you can take that code, build a very simple web page, put the chat in there, and then embed it within the virtual experience. So that would be the way at the moment for people to actually ask you questions and answer. But obviously the chat, you will have to then use your existing chat function there to answer those questions, but they can do it within the virtual experience. So it makes them feel like it's all together into one. Hopefully that makes sense. How can I show my live tour to my audience? Slavik, thank you for being here. Good question. Actually, it's very simple. Your live tour, your final virtual experience, is just a URL link. So the URL, all you need to do is share your URL, and they can immediately see the virtual experience. Now, if you want to do the touring section, so the live guiding that I talked about, then in our editor, you'll have a button that enables you to create a virtual room. It automatically opens the room. You can share that URL link with your clients, and when they enter that link, automatically everyone will show up virtually in that virtual space. So very, very simple. Nothing to download, nothing to do. A simple URL link does the trick. What is the learning curve for iStaging? Do you need to be a programmer? Michelle, no, you do not need to be a programmer. I am the opposite from a programmer. I would say a technological idiot. And I can figure this out. So no, you do not have to, you don't need any technical knowledge. We can absolutely help you out with this. So it should be pretty straightforward, but there maybe are some features that are a little bit more advanced and require a little bit of, more information, but we have tutorial videos for them, so you always have access to those. You can always go back there, and we also do a training session where you can where we can help you get started. So no need, don't worry. If you have zero technical knowledge, I am convinced I can get you going and that you can create something awesome. Is there any visitor summary? Example, if you want to know how many audiences view the sunflower. Wow, that's a very interesting question. Well, you're actually just a little bit too early for with this question, because we're working on something like this. So we're looking at the possibilities, and I hope to be able to share these possibilities with you not very long from now. Within the next 2 to 3 weeks, hopefully, I have some updates regarding that, where we can share visitor information data. So yes, very good question. As soon as I can share more information, we will reach out to you. So we're working on that. Thanks for the question. Great question, because this is absolutely crucial and very, very important, and one of the key things of doing virtual stuff. All right. Great questions, guys. I'm very happy that you're all so interested. So this is awesome. Where can I get the info about the white label, the cost? Okay, well, reach out to us. And again, I think we have to have a little bit of a conversation about what is important for you with regards to white labeling. Because again, you know, if I ask 10 different people what white label means to them, you will get 10 different answers. So I think we should set up a quick chat, or so that we can talk about your needs specifically, and then we will reach out to you. Either me or one of our account managers will reach out to you, and we can talk about the specifics and help you out. So we'll get in touch. All right. Well, I see one other question, I think. Actually, there's one thing, and my colleague Andrea keeps telling me this every single time. Are the people that joined us via Facebook? She's gonna hate me. The people that joined us via Facebook Live, thank you so much for joining us today. Actually, if you have questions, you can post them there, and I'll be able to answer them here. But yeah, we're already towards the end of the talk, so I so apologize for not acknowledging you guys at the beginning of the talk. Okay, is there any gamification or reward feature in the tour? So no, at the moment there's no gamification or reward feature specifically, but you can obviously embed some sort of reward feature maybe within a website. If you build something, a simple website with some sort of reward idea, and you can then embed that within the virtual experience. So you can basically build that yourself. So actually, this is one of the things that to keep in mind, that even if we don't have a specific feature that does these things, our software is so versatile that you can basically do anything, you know, using those specific features, using the web tag, and using, you know, links to other websites, and, you know, embedding YouTube live conferences, and, you know, connecting to Zoom, or, you know, we even have a conference tool. But if you want to connect to other conference tools, there's so many possibilities. I rarely say no, this is not possible. Simply because, you know, this is how we want to think about it. Obviously, when we build something, we want to make sure that automatically, you know, creates flexibility for everyone that is using the platform. All right. Well, if then these are all of the questions for now. If you have more questions, don't worry. Please just reach out to us either at hello@istaging.com or via our customer service on the website or within the software itself. We will get back to you as soon as we can. So don't worry if you didn't get your question answered. For all of the people that I mentioned that we will reach out to you and talk to you about more, we will within the next 24 hours. We will get in touch. So don't worry. And I want to thank you very, very much for joining us today. I hope that you learned something. I hope that maybe you got inspired a little bit and motivated to actually get something going yourself. I hope that, you know, if you once you get into this, then and you see what is possible, then ultimately you start to realize, wow, you know, I showed you a museum today, a virtual museum, but it could literally be anything. So, and there's so many possibilities, and it's so cool that even with maybe a little bit of training, a little bit of trial, you know, getting into it for a little bit of time, then suddenly you start to realize, wow, this is actually absolutely awesome. And you know, this is why I'm showing it to you guys, because most of the time, once I show it, people just they go, I get it, I see it now. And if you can build it yourself, like we said, there's no need to be a programmer. You can get things going. Yes, again, thank you all very much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. We will do more webinars in the coming months. Hopefully in the next few weeks, there'll be the next one with a new topic, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully, and if you are actually interested, if you haven't joined the platform yet, get in touch, or maybe subscribe online, or if you want the advanced features we talked about, get in touch and we'll help you out immediately. Again, super affordable. So yeah, I would say just get going. Thanks again, have a wonderful week, and we hope to see you at the next one. Cheers, bye-bye.